God, in Isaiah chapter 55, begins by acknowledging our use of money to buy things, and then proceeds to tell his people to buy those very things without the need for money. He then asks why we even concern ourselves with buying things that are not bread and therefore do not sustain us. God shifts the focus from sustaining physical life to sustaining our soul as the priority. He promises his people that as they seek him, that the nation of unbelievers shall come to them because of the Lord. Why would these people suddenly come to God's people? I submit to you that despite how joyous those who experience worldly success may appear to be, they lack the peace and true joy that only God can provide. Have you ever misused something because you did not know or understand its purpose? This can be dangerous and have unintended consequences, especially in cases when the misuse appears useful. People who experience worldly success apart from God may be praised and celebrated for what they have achieved or accomplished, but remain unfulfilled because they have done so neglecting the way and will of God. The coming of the unbeliever to the believer is contingent to the believer hearing from God and doing what the Lord instructs. After making this covenant, God begins to talk about his thoughts versus our thoughts and his ways versus our ways. The believer must resist the urge to lean on his own understanding as he is hearing from and obeying the Lord. This is critical because God's peace accompanies his process. What happens when we begin to do God's will based on our understanding without seeking the Lord to proceed based upon his understanding? Well, we may allow fear to prevent us from moving forward, or even worse, we attempt to take credit or seek glory for what God should be glorified for. We neglect to recognize that anything we have or do is only by the grace and power of God. God's peace is intended to comfort us as we follow and obey his instructions. Too often, rather than finding comfort in God's process, we repeatedly ask the Lord to comfort us or give us peace after we have chosen to take our course of action to accomplish what we believe the Lord has revealed to us. God is not into taking shortcuts. We have a habit of wanting to take the quick or easy route, which devalues and decreases the quality of what God intended. Imagine reading the instructions to put something together one time and proceeding to put it together, refusing to look back at the instructions. How successful do you believe you would be in completing construction? How would the construction hold up against the capacity it is identified as having? It is easy to follow the crowd, but it can be challenging to follow the way of God, especially when it seems like the unpopular thing to do. Whatever we decide, we must remember to weigh it against the word and character of God. If what we are choosing to do rejects or violates the word and will of God, then it is safe to assume that we should not continue in that decision. Over time, as we continually commit to God's way, we will find that our soul begins to leap with life while our flesh is crucified and dies. We must reject the urge to save our physical lives at the expense of our eternal soul.